my channel. Today I'll be creating this look right here in a tutorial for you all. I also went into really deep depth in this tutorial when it came to talking about color theory and talking about color placement and basically my process when it comes to working with colors, because I do understand that a lot of people, they look at a palette of colors or they look at a palette in general, and sometimes they have issues when it comes to thinking of what kind of looks to do or where to place the colors, because it can get a little bit overwhelming. And in this video I went into detail as to what colors I was using and why and where was I placing them and how was I working with them. So this is going to be a pretty in-depth video, so if you've ever had issues with like just looking at a palette and you're not sure what to do, or your colors might be looking muddy and you're not sure why, then this video will be for you. Also, if you want to learn how to create this look right here, which I think is definitely one of my more vibrant looks. I mean, I have a vibrant eyeshadow, but also I ended up with a pretty vibrant lip, if I do say so myself. So really, like, lots of things going on in this video, so please keep on watching. I hope you enjoy this one, and yeah, let's just get into it. Today I'll be working with the Morphe 39A palette. If you saw my swatch party, you know how excited I am about this palette. I was really just excited just to dig into it, but this is going to be my first time using this palette. I want to try and use it as many times as possible because I do want to eventually be able to actually talk about this palette and talk about the things I like about this palette, what I don't like, just my verdict on this palette. And I want to make sure that I know enough about this to reach like a good conclusion, because I don't want to just like finish this video and be like, yeah, I recommend this palette when I've only tried out like only like about 5 or 8 shades, you know, at the most. So I will be doing a video in the future where I'll talk about this palette maybe and what I think about it, but for now this is going to be a first impressions. So I think I'll go in with this color right here. I believe it's called Create. I already have a base on my eyes, and I'm going in with a flat brush because I want to do like that little thing that I've been doing where I basically just pat this color into kind of like where my crease is, just like that. And then that way you end up with a pretty like pigmented amount of color. I think that you definitely are able to get a lot of pigmentation if you start off this way. I used to use a transition color all the time, and if you don't know, a transition color is like a light wash of color that you're supposed to apply into your crease with a fluffy brush, and usually you're supposed to do that first and foremost when you're doing a makeup look. But then I kind of stopped doing that because I realized when I'm doing like colorful makeup looks and whenever I'm doing anything that requires a lot of color, I kind of like think that it's a lot easier for me to simply just pack the color in and then blend it out, because then it just looks so much more high impact than if I was just using this color as a transition color and just, you know, building it up from there. I end up having a higher impact look and it's more colorful and it's more vibrant, which I do prefer. So then I'm going to go with Indigo, which happens to be this color in this palette right here, and I'll be dipping this brush into this color. This is a Morphe M506 brush, just a little bit, not too much, and I'll be using this color to help blend out that purple. Usually what I will do is I'll either use another color like I'm doing now, or I'll just use a clean brush. It just depends on what kind of look I'm doing. I kind of think I want a little bit more of a dramatic look, so I'm going to blend out the edges using this brush and just using a little bit of color as well. During this step, you really don't want to go in with a heavy hand, you want to go light-handed. So I wanted to make this video and also talk a little bit about color placement and color theory and my thought process when it comes to combining different colors together to create a colorful makeup look. So as you can tell, I already put on a purple shadow, and then as a companion color I used blue. Now, as you know, purple is made up of a red and a blue shade, so when I'm using a blue next to a purple, so long as I blend it out a little bit, it looks good, it looks cohesive, it flows together, and it doesn't look muddy. And that is also because those colors are really close to each other on the color wheel. I definitely suggest looking at the color wheel at least once if you've never looked at it before, because it can really help you when it comes to choosing your eyeshadow looks and trying to make your looks cohesive, because I always try and create a look that looks cohesive, right? So I tend to choose colors that go well together, such as in this case, so far I've used a purple and a blue because those two colors go well together. However, yes, I have pushed the envelope when it comes to colors and what colors I use in tutorials. I have used a green and a red, which are complete opposites on the color wheel, but in those cases I have to be super careful when I'm blending to make sure that those colors do not look muddy, because if you blend too much in those cases, the colors can look muddy because they're complete opposites and technically they're not supposed to go together. I used two colors so far that are very similar to each other and are very close on the color wheel, but they look good together because they kind of go together and they flow together pretty well. So now that I'm done with that little explanation, I'm going to go to my other eye and finish this eye really quickly and then come back to this and blend things out a little bit more. Something that you also might have noticed if you have been watching my tutorials lately is that I tend to not set my base when it comes to my eyeshadow. I tend to actually use a stick foundation and I just put it on my eyes and I just blend it out so I'm ready to put on eyeshadow. But I don't set my base usually when it comes to my eyeshadow because I kind of like the way that these shadows tend to stick to a more tacky base. So when I'm using like a creamier eyeshadow, I definitely think that it does help to not set your base and make sure that there's no powder eyeshadow underneath the eyeshadow that's colorful, if that makes any sense, because then you get such a more vibrant look. Now, if I'm using a drier eyeshadow that's more difficult to blend, then in that case, I will set my base with a powder and then go in with the shadows that I'm using for that day. But usually like 9 out of 10 times, I am just going in with colorful eyeshadow, and in that case I am not setting my base and I'm just going in with the colors. I realized that I did not film me doing my eyeshadow base, but I don't really usually tend to film that nowadays anyway because it kind of is a little bit boring and it's the same thing that I do in many of my videos. So I'm cleaning the brush off a little bit on the back of my hand. I do this pretty often. And I'm trying to make sure that I get like a good amount of the blue off, because what I'm going to do next is I'm going to just go in and gently blend out those edges of that blue eyeshadow. Again, I'm using a pretty light hand when it comes to blending the eyeshadow out, and I'm not blending them out super thoroughly. I still want the colors to be very impactful, but this is what it's looking like so far, and I'm kind of really into it. And I'm going to go in with another color, and I actually think I want to use a glitter glue for this step, just because a glitter glue can really just help make your eyeshadow stick to your eyelid even more, and that's again what I love. I'm using the NYX glitter glue. This is really the only one that I've tried and works really well for me, so that's what I tend to use. I know that a lot of people love the Too Faced glitter glue. I just prefer the NYX because, like I said, it works for me and it's really cheap and it's from the drugstore, so why not? I basically put the glitter glue wherever I know I'm going to be applying my next shadow. In this case, I really want to apply just on top of that like little white area that I have right there, because I want it to be like a pop of shadow in that area. So of course I'm using the glitter glue to make it pop even more, and I'm just going to like wait a little bit for the glitter glue to become even more tacky, which really helps the shadow stick even more. And then I'm going to go in with my fingers and picked up this color, which I believe is called Snatched. It's just such a gorgeous, like just red orangey color, and it has a shimmer to it, which is really nice as well. So I hope that this will turn out well for this look. So let's just, oh yeah, I love that. Okay, so I'm going in with a pretty light hand, but the glitter glue is really helping the shadow stick and become even more vibrant than it already is, which is of course lovely. Again, I used a color that is really quite similar to purple. I used that red. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a small detailed brush. This is the same one that I used for the purple color at the beginning of the video. And I'm just going to dip it back into that purple, and I'm going to sort of pat this purple around that red eyeshadow, just because I want to like bring attention back to a little bit of purple. Of course, you can use your finger to help blend out things. That's what I usually tend to do anyway, and it really just helps me out a lot. And like I said, I'm not doing too much, I'm just doing a little bit. So now I think I want to go onto my face. I'm just going to be using my Fenty Beauty foundation, and I'm mixing it in this time with a little bit of, what do I want to use? I think I want to go in with some NYX liquid highlighter. I don't know where it is. Oh yeah, there it is. I'm going to go with the NYX Born to Glow liquid illuminator as well, and just mix it in with this foundation. I've been doing this a lot lately with like different liquid illuminators, and this just makes your skin look so beautiful and so just glowing from within, which of course is something that I am addicted to because it makes me look a lot better, so I like it. Because matte foundations, no matter what, they do tend to look a little bit flat sometimes. This Fenty one doesn't look as flat as most foundations that I've tried, but I still like to make it look even more glowy. By just taking a little bit of liquid illuminator and just popping it on, because like you can see in this blended out portion of my face, it doesn't look like it's a disco ball, but it has like this like soft luminescence and it looks super natural. It depends on what kind of illuminator you use. This one tends to be very natural looking, so if you want to go for something super subtle, I would suggest this. But it just makes your skin look like so much more healthy, and yeah, I do love it because you have the long wearing properties of a matte foundation, but you're mixing that in with a little bit of like luminosity, which of course is always welcome. So there you go. Sometimes I just feel like if I put on my foundation, it sort of helps with my thought process when it comes to my eye makeup, because it kind of just cleans everything up and makes it a little bit easier for me to think about what I'm going to do next, which is a big reason why in my tutorials I tend to skip around a lot. I mean, sometimes I'll be doing a bronzer, then I'll be doing my eyelashes, then I'll be doing some more eyeshadow, you know, and I don't tend to stick with the same thing because I always find that my creativity personally just works better if I just let myself just do whatever feels right in that moment. Okay, so I have an idea. I think I want to use this color again. I honestly, I have the insert with the shade names, but I'm just so lazy I don't even want to look at it. So I'm going to be using this color and just stamping it on my lower lash line. Just a little bit. And I think I'm just gonna go just like on the entirety of my lower lash line. I think this is sort of like a stamping slash swiping motion that I'm doing, honestly. Okay, so now that I'm done with that part, I'm going to be taking another brush. Let me just find a clean one. Okay, so I'm just taking this small brush and I'm using small circular motions to just blend it out, this color out. I'm only using like very small motions to blend this color out. I'm not going very crazy. I want to make sure that I'm just being very precise. So far, when it comes to the colors that I've used in this palette, I am pretty impressed about how pigmented and how beautiful these shadows are. Like, I feel like the formula for Morphe has definitely evolved. Like, compared to previous palettes that I've tried from them, this palette is amazing. Like, I am in love with it. Okay, so now what I want to do is I'm taking this color, I think it's called Indigo. We used it previously in this video, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take another clean tiny brush, and I'm just going to, again, stamp this color, but I'm going to sort of extend it out. And then I'm taking that small Morphe M505, and I'm just slowly blending this out. Okay, so this is what it's looking like so far. I am really into this look, actually a lot more than I was planning on being. But I'm going to go again really quickly and do my bronzer and then my highlight because I kind of want to get that done. I'm using my Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. I mean, honestly, I use this bronzer a ton, and I've already gone through one like complete package of this. And it's just the bronzer that works for me, you know, and it just looks amazing on camera and looks amazing in person, and yeah, this is a love affair. For my highlight, I want to go a little bit blingy, so I'm using the Sleek highlighter palette, this one right here, and I'm mixing these three shades And this makes like a super silvery looking highlight, which I really love the look of. And sometimes I'll just extend it up into my temple, blend things out, but then the bulk of the highlight goes in this area right here. That's where it's like the most concentrated. And then also putting a little bit on my nose, cupid's bow and chin. Yeah, this is definitely the highlight that you want to get if you want to get like a silvery highlight. Typically, I've been using my fingers for my inner corner highlights because that way it looks a little bit more concentrated in my opinion. I kind of like the look of it. So when you're doing an inner corner highlight and you have a colorful makeup look, I really think that you can pretty much do whatever color you want because your inner corner highlight typically does not need to blend that much with your eyeshadow, in my opinion. Or anyway, you can go for like a very neutral champagne color, but when I'm doing a colorful makeup look, I typically like to go for something that's a little bit more like attention grabbing. So I think that I'm going to go for this color, which is called Taylor, which is this right here. I kind of wanted to go for like a blue today, so that's what I went for. I'm going in with a little bit of mascara. I'm using my L'Oreal Lash Paradise mascara. I'm going in with my little Vegas Nay for Eyelure Grand Glamour lashes. These are absolutely beautiful, very fluffy and really wispy. And then of course I'm doing my L'Oreal Lash Mascara. I do just the same mascara that I use on my top lashes. I'm looking at this look and I'm like, I don't want to do a nude lip today. I just don't. I kind of think I want a red lip, so I'm just going to do a little bit of lip pencil. This is the sloppiest red lip liner job I've done in a long time. But it doesn't matter too much because we're just going to be going over that with this. This is the Fenty Beauty, what is it called again? The Stunna Lip Paint in Uncensored. This is my favorite, well, one of my favorite reds at the moment. So yeah, this is the finished look. That is the end of this video. I hope you enjoyed this one. I really wanted to make a tutorial, but I also wanted to go into depth as to like the different colors I use and why, and just talk about like color theory a little bit, because I do know that sometimes people look at a palette and they don't know what colors to use, and that is made even more difficult when you have a palette that's as colorful as this one. So far I'm liking this palette. I haven't used that many shades from it, but I do plan on going in and trying out some more colors from this palette and just seeing what I can create with this palette, because I am quite excited about finally having this palette. So you will probably be seeing a lot of looks, a lot of tutorials. Follow my makeup account. It's just Anushka MUA, and basically I post a lot of makeup looks on there that I don't even post on YouTube sometimes. So that is a really great source of inspiration if you really like my makeup style that I tend to have. But this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching till the end of this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.